as you can see, the market has been pretty much moving sideways here since middle of June. It's been consolidating. And it's really difficult to tell why we've been consolidating, but if you've been observing your daily chart, on the daily, we hit that overbought sentiment here sometime about mid-June or so. And so we needed to see that daily oscillator to reset. Needed to see that correction through time. Perfect. And that's why we've seen that sideways move here. So and you see that upside move here, and then last week we abruptly sold off for about 2 days, and we briefly lost that short-term moving average right here, that green moving average, which did act as support on this day. We lost it for about 2 hours or so. However, that was the vicinity where the market decided that this is gonna be the rising pivot. As you can see, connected here, 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 and here. What happened was, it seemed as though, again, another shenanigan, it seemed as though, yeah, with the yesterday's price action, you see we threw that hammer right on the rising pivot. We saw follow through, came down last. And then you see on yesterday's final hour price action, you see the high wave spinning top here. It's basically long upper wick, long lower wick. And we gapped down this morning. I really think this gap down was crucial for both bulls and bears, because I think if the gap was still, sustained, if that down gap remained, never closed, because it opened here. And if we would have seen something like this, right? Let's say that's what we saw in the first hour, that long, bloody red candle below the short term, breaking below that rising pivot. I think things could have gone a lot more different. What happened was, that down gap was quickly filled. Perfect. So when the down gap was filled on that first hour this morning, as you can see here, right? Again, this is where we closed on yesterday. We opened here, we thrusted above it, filled the gap. And a lot of times when the gap gets filled, it usually acts as resistance. A lot of times it could kind of stay there for a couple hours or 2-3 hours, sort of grinding sideways. But what happened was, we filled the gap and we continued higher, as you can see here on the second hour. So we actually filled the gap. We saw a follow through right away. And then obviously there was a micro term here. Micro term did act as a resistance right on that candle here, and it has not able to retested it. So then on the second hour and third hour, you see there a little bit of a jittery action there, kind of being aware of the micro term, thrusted above it, well above the micro term. And then we got above this pivot right here at 546. And at this point, now that micro term is traveling to the upside. Perfect. Right? It is no longer traveling to the downside. It is starting to travel to the upside after the 4th hour move. And then when we saw follow through on the 5th hour, market fully broke out to the upside. And as you can see, there's no resistance anywhere here, right? There's nothing, there are no moving averages, there's no overhead supply, nothing. Because it dropped so fast last week, there was no resistances that bears can cultivate. There are no lower highs or anything like that. So you see there's a lot of shenanigans that are going on here. But once we broke above 546, we very much swiftly got out. Possibly, obviously, the buying triggers, buying trades are getting triggered. Also, the shorts are getting squeezed, and so that's and a lot of times people are gonna put in. Once you realize the ranges, people are gonna put in their triggers, above 546 or so. And that's probably what will happen here last couple hours. And looks like bulls are really aiming that 550 all-time high level with the And because we also have a Marubozu candle on the daily. So looking at the, so everything looks like this is a full breakout. Got the oscillator is, first of all, you know, I was talking about this oscillator support, and last time on my last video, I featured this right here. This is a very rare, especially in the 65-minute chart, to see that, you know, seeing this kind of a, you know, sort of uptrend line. It's really not uptrend line, but, you know, because they're slightly elevated, right? That was the low. That's a higher low, slight higher low. Because this line right here, that dotted blue, that's not just horizontal. They're slightly elevating. So slightly rising support line here, and how it perfectly gets respected. I don't think I've seen, and especially going all the way back to June. So now what, we're July. So entire month here, very rare signal here. Maybe that was telltale signal that the market wasn't ready to fully break down. All it was just to move sideways. Again, like I said on the daily chart, he needed to see that oscillator reset, correcting through time before making its move here. So you see that oscillator though, you know, that could potentially be a resistance, right? Huh? But look at the way this oscillator has moved up here. You see there's no skittish action. There's nothing. It's just very much advancing and separating. Only way this oscillator, right? This oscillator is going to curl back down and roll over, and this level acting as resistance, because there's so much momentum on that oscillator. Even if we, like, let's say we move sideways all day tomorrow, it's still gonna break out, you see? Because that oscillator has already crossed up actually yesterday, right? So yesterday closed, I looked at it. What happened was that oscillator was just very slight crossed up state, like this here, like that. That's what it looked like yesterday's at close. And maybe that was showing us the early signal of strength. That might be why with the down gap, right? We closed here, we gapped down here. Even the down gap was not able to keep that oscillator down. So then you see that we saw full move, and then that oscillator fully stretching, right? Fully stretching without any kind of like a skittish, how the angle of that, and then you see how it goes up sideways a little bit, goes up a little bit here, you know what I mean? So only way to keep that out, like if you're like desperately seeking the price or the spider roll over here, is a shenanigan down move. Not just like a little bit of down move. I mean, like, let's say market just out of nowhere, we open here, let's say open below 546, or like below the micro term, right? We see a big down gap. Wait, again, shenanigan. It's a wild card. Anytime, any moment, it's a possibility. It's obviously a lower probability scenario, but it's a possibility. That's it. And then this thing flushes down, let's say on the first side. That will be the only way for this oscillator to curl down and roll over right on that resistance. That would be the only way. But let's say markets do a little bit of flag, it's still going to break out, right? And so I think just the way it closed, we might even see a gap up here above the 550 here, above the all-time high level. And then it looks like we have a one more day energy remaining before this thing hitting the extreme overbought zone here, right? So you can see we still got a lot of room left here, especially this, because this was kind of tamed, like, you know how this was prematurely fell back down instead of like going all the way to the top of his band. So you can kind of look at this as a you know, oscillator consolidation, and also with the we talked about this rising support line on that oscillator that goes all the way back to June. So there is a lot of that hidden bullish momentum it was there while the oscillator or the price has been kind of consolidating or stagnant here over the last couple weeks or so. So I want to give benefit of the doubt to the buyers. Looks like market is ready to make new all-time highs, finally break out to the upside, and we want to watch that oscillator and see once it gets to the overbought, that's probably when we're gonna see some sort of a sideways action, maybe a little bit of pullback to reset that oscillator.